Today I'll say a little bit about Google App Engine. 1 minute. Firefox is not allowing. I'll go to Chrome. Okay, fine. Yeah, can you see the screen? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the last class also we discussed about Google App Engine. So today also we'll continue with Google App Engine. So in the previous class we discussed about what is Google App Engine and what are the basic features of Google App Engine. Today we'll see a few more things about Google App Engine. See, as we know that Google App Engine is part of Google Cloud. So Google's platform, it's a Google App Engine is a Google's platform to build web applications, and it provides dynamic web server. Google platform itself will provide dynamic web server so that we can host our applications. And it supports for automatic scaling and load balancing. So scaling in the sense as per our requirements. So virtual resource allocating dynamically the virtual resources to each and every user. So that will be automatically taken care by Google, and even the load balancing. So load balancing will be taken care by Google App Engine, and it supports two different data store models, that is SQL and NoSQL. So that means you can deal with relational databases. So it supports for both SQL and NoSQL based data store model, and integration with Google account through API. So that means already if you are having a Google account, you can integrate with the Google account. And it is even if you want to use Google App Engine, it is mandatory to have a Google account. So as we know, Google App Engine provides platform as a service. So we will see who are the other platform as a service providers along with Google App Engine: OpenShift, Amazon EC2, Azure Heroku, Jelastic, Cloud, so Cloud Foundry. So these are some of the popular PaaS providers. See here, one thing you can observe here we have for PaaS, Google App Engine, Amazon, and also Azure. See, even though Amazon mainly targets on infrastructure as a service, that doesn't mean that it will not provide PaaS. So the the main emphasis of Amazon is on infrastructure as a service, but at the same time it will also provide platform as a service. That's why here once again it is listed under PaaS, Amazon. Okay, so Amazon uses EC2. So we demonstrated Amazon EC2. So how Amazon EC2 provides platform as a service. So platform as a service is nothing but providing a container service upon which, see, when I say container, it is linked with the virtual resources like CPU, RAM, storage, along with the guest operating system. So that is called a platform. This complete package is called as a platform. So upon that, once they provide you the guest operating system, then it is up to you what other infrastructure you need to install, and you can deal with it. Why Google App Engine? So we use Google App Engine because of it is easily scalable, and it is easy to manage the logs. So when you are consuming a lot of services under Google Cloud, so you may be consuming so many resources, and it is easy to manage the logs, and easy development. As we know, easy development means it supports for Python and Java. Along with that, Google is having its own language called as Go language. So using that, you can develop the applications and you can host it. And free quota in the sense as already we had discussed in the previous class. So for under free quota, you will get resources for certain amount of, for certain number of days. So using that as an free quota, you can learn Google App Engine. So after that, once that quota is over, then they'll start charging for it. It is more affordable than AWS. No configuration of servers. You need not worry about configuration of servers. And when it comes to cost, it is more affordable than uh, Amazon Web Services. And the security is based upon Google based security. So Google is having their own security model and they call it as Google based security. Why Google App Engine? Easy to build, local by using local SDK and lots of APIs available, easy to maintain via admin console. So admin console is one common feature across any cloud platform. You take OpenStack, Amazon, Amazon Cloud, or even Microsoft Azure. Everywhere you have an admin console, and even in Google App Engine, and easy to scale. Google scale infrastructure and no limits for data. So Google App Engine support. It supports for Java, Python, PHP, and Go. Go is a language developed by Google. Just like Java, Go is also a programming language. So it provides a platform using which you can develop applications using Go. Then how the request is processed in Google App Engine. So look at here. So here is the user and here is the App Engine front end and apps runtime. So user can consume the services using the browser and through Google App Engine front end, and it will be processed by using apps runtime. So therefore, Google App Engine also provides runtime for its applications. How it is scaled? You can see here there are multiple users. So concurrently users are accessing using App Engine front end, and to deal with it, you have three. You have majorly the apps runtime. You can see here there are, so therefore for one user there can be one virtual app runtime. Therefore, say for example, if n users are concurrently accessing the Google App Engine through the App Engine front end, so then each user will use an virtual app runtime. Then Google App Engine development lifecycle. First, the development lifecycle starts with writing the code, then test locally. Locally means, so you need not worry about the cloud and all. You test the application after writing the code. You test it using your local machine. So using localhost, you can test it. Then push to Google servers. So once the testing results are satisfactory, then you can push that code to Google servers. Then once you push to the Google server, that means deploying the code under Google Web Server. Then administer using Web Console. So Web Console is an user interface using which you can maintain the applications that you have hosted on Google App Engine. So the first step is writing the code. So then second one is test it locally using the local host. Then push it to the Google servers. Then administer using Web Console. So 4 steps. So let us see what kind of API and service support is made available by Google App Engine. So it provides memory cache. So memory cache, we know that the very frequently used pages will be served from cache memory, so that it will improve the performance of the Google App Engine. And data store, URL fetch, mail service, XAMPP service, task queue. So task queue is nothing but when the concurrent users are submitting the task, it will go and stand in a queue. We call it as a task queue, which in turn will submit it for further processing. Then images. So images, say for example, So using the Google App Engine front end, if you are selecting a particular container, so some virtual machine, that is nothing but an image. See, actually, the actual OS will be there in the data center, but whatever we use is called as an image. Then the blob store and the user service. Blob store is for data access. And Google Cloud Platform Service. Google Cloud Platform Service is divided into three categories, that is compute service, storage service, and app services. Under compute service, we have compute engine and app engine. Under storage, we have cloud storage, cloud SQL, cloud data store, persistent disk. See, these are the services provided by Google Storage. Just like how we saw Elastic Block Storage, CloudWatch, and similar services under Amazon. Similarly, Google is also having certain services. And under app services, it is having BigQuery, cloud endpoints, caching, and queues. So in the next class, we'll see these things one by one. For example, what is App Engine? What is cloud storage? So what are the components under that, and what is Cloud SQL? Okay, what are the different types of SQL it supports? All those details, inner details, we'll see in the next class. So under app services, we have BigQuery, cloud endpoints, caching, and queues. Traditional server setup. So this is a traditional server setup. Say especially when you have an application hosted somewhere in the server. So how the communication happens? Look at this. The first step is reverse proxy. That means the proxy servers. Say for example, if you are dealing with an application, say you are dealing with some cloud-based application, so directly you cannot reach the server. Actually, in between user and the server, there will be something called as a proxy server. So actually, your request will be taken by the proxy server, and in turn, that will be sending to the web server. So now Apache is a web server. So before this Apache, there is an proxy server. Then, so that proxy server in turn will be connected with the different databases. So in this example, they have taken the example of MySQL. So here you can see in turn that is connected with multiple database servers. Okay, one database server is connected with multiple database servers. So that's the traditional setup. You cannot imagine that. So database server means it will be one single server. No, it's not like that. Since they have to deal with multiple clients, they need to store a lot of data. So one database server in turn will be linked with multiple database servers. How does it work in Google App Engine? See, once the request is taken, so there is a component called as the App Master. App Master is having two major components called as front end and the app server. So front end is nothing but the GUI, what you can see through the web browser. So that is from where it will accept the parameters, and that will be redirected to the app server, that is the application server. So you can see application server in turn is linked with so many components like data store, memory cache, static files, images, users, URL fetch, task queue, and so on. So depending upon the nature of request you get, so it will serve, say it will decide whether to, so whether once the request is taken, so it will decide whether to whether the request is related to serving the static files. If it is related to serving the static files, so it will serve. In case if the user is requesting some images, it will serve the images. So or if a user is requesting for some data, it will fetch from the data store. Okay, or if the user is requesting for some recently visited web page, it will pick it from the cache memory. Okay, let us see under free quota what are all the provisions available for the users. 25 applications per user. So under free quota, so that means under free quota, every user can avail 25 free applications, and 5 million page views are free per month. That means within a month, you can visit a maximum of 5 million page views. Approximately 6.5 hours of CPU and 1 gigabyte of inbound and outbound traffic. So that means 1 GB of inbound and outbound traffic is allowed, and 6.5 hours of CPU, and 100 hits per seconds non-billing, and 500 for billing enabled applications. Okay, that's what you get. Who is using Google App Engine? So look at the vendors: eWhite, MTV, Forbes, Angry Birds, Khan Academy, Royal Wedding, Snapchat, EA Games, Best Buy, and so on. These are the vendors who are using Google App Engine. So these are all these companies are clients for Google App Engine. So things that you need to know: how to develop applications using Google App Engine. So if you want to develop applications using Google App Engine, then you need to have JRE, that is Java Runtime Environment, and Java Development Kit, that is JDK, and Eclipse. You need to have an. It is always better to have an updated version of Eclipse. Then GAE plugin for Eclipse. That's very important. So just having Eclipse will not suffice your requirement. You need to have a plugin, GAE plugin, and App Engine SDK. So it's a zip file. So that you need to link it with a Eclipse IDE. And above all these things, having Google account is mandatory. So instructions. So what are the precautions? That instructions are nothing but what are the precautions that you need to take. So before starting developing an application using Google App Engine, you need to check the Java version using the command prompt, and extract all the Eclipse zip files, and extract all Java App Engine software development kit zip file, add JE plugin to Eclipse, then you can start working. So as we know that whenever we start working with Eclipse, usually we start with something called as a new project. So then configure the SDK. By selecting new project, you configure the SDK. Then after developing the application, run on localhost as web application. Okay, this is the first step. So once you develop and once you are able to successfully run your application on the local host, then it is the next step to host it on the Google server. So how to deploy? So now let us assume you have written one hello world program, and it is working fine with the local host. Now you want to deploy it in the Google App Engine. So the URL is https://appengine.google.com. Place your application ID in appengine.xml. So that means, so there is an as you know, web.xml file. So in that, so you need to do this change. Place your application ID. So application ID in this appengine.xml, not web.xml. Sorry, it's a appengine.xml. So include this tag. Okay. So replace this UR underscore ID with your application ID. Then right click on the root folder of the Project Explorer and go to Google, deploy to App Engine. That's it. It's very easy. That means, so the deployment procedure is very easy in Google App Engine. Okay. So in the coming classes, we will see one video how to deploy Google App Engine. That we'll see through an example. Okay, that's not an issue. So where your application gets in. So say if it is a software as a service like Google applications or Yahoo Mail, Hotmail, so then it becomes software as a service. Okay. So if it is platform as a service related thing, then you have to use then you have the applications like, so you have to deploy it in Windows Azure or Heroku server if it is platform as a service. And Google available tools are Google BigQuery, Cloud SQL, Cloud Data Store, Translate, and Prediction. So these are the examples for platform as a service. Then if it is infrastructure related thing, so then we can use Google Compute Engine or cloud storage. Okay, that's it for today. So from tomorrow, hello.
Yes, sir.
1 minute. From tomorrow you have test, right?
From tomorrow, yes sir, from tomorrow we have internals.
Okay. So 27, 28, 29 you have test.
After 29th, sir.
Okay. 30. Then next, therefore our next class is on Saturday. Hope I will not take class on Saturday because Sunday I have my brother's marriage. So Sunday and Monday I have marriage function. So my brother's marriage. So I hope I'll take next class on next Tuesday. Okay, exactly after 1 week I'll be taking the next class. Okay. So
Okay.
if you have any doubts regarding the MCQ questions that I have given, you can message me to my WhatsApp so that I can respond. And for all those questions, actually, you can get the answers in the internet. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
I
Sir,
didn't give the
tomorrow we
answer.
don't have exams, sir. From
Tomorrow
28th.
you don't. From when you have exams? Do I get? Can we get one class tomorrow? Hello.
So from 28th we have, sir.